She was here and she left about 30 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, about 30 minutes ago, and they came to get her, and they took her to the beauty shop. So it's a big downer for her. So I'll spill my dang smoothie. Look at that. That's bad. Gosh. No, I didn't. There wasn't any vodka. That's from this morning. Spilled that sucker. So, oh, I forgot. Hey, you know what? It's Stripe the Stadium in this game. So, you guys can go to CoachGundy.com and get all the details. We got to stripe the stadium, so I'm guessing that all the people that tune into this press conference for jokes and entertainment and not much or very little has to do with football, you'll know that it's stripe the stadium. And I've always supported the officials and referees. They're all good friends of mine, so we're killing two birds with one stone. I'm glad I spilled that smoothie on my shirt, my sweatshirt. I almost forgot about Stripe Stadium. But I apologize for Kenzie. She's at the beauty shop, so she has to go every 2 weeks. Other than that, we play a good team this week. I don't think I need to say a lot about Boise. They're very well coached, play very sound football, very good players, traditionally a top 20 team. This is, in my opinion, a really good year for them. They got a lot of players back. Quarterback's very experienced, mature, top 10 or so offensively, probably top 10 or so defensively are really high. So hopefully we can play the very best that we can. We're going to need to play at a high level in order for us to give ourselves a chance to win. So you guys know a lot about them. For us, you know, we're a healthy team, and we're getting a little better each week, and so on and so forth. Was that your phone?
Yes, it was Pat Jones on the app.
No, I thought that was a rap song. I thought you were more like me into Boston and stuff like that, and I thought it was a rap song. I was going to have you hook up with my 13-year-old. So whatever questions you have, you know, I mean, what I said post-conference or post-game was good in the conference. Our run blocking is very below average. It's got to improve. Quarterback had got a lot better, threw the ball around pretty good. Defense was in the right spot most of the time. I think they're defending well. Both sides of the ball, including special teams, going to be a real challenge for us. They have a very active returner. So this will be a good matchup. Should be a lot of fun. Need to have a great week.
Mike, I asked you this in post-game after knowing that you probably couldn't answer it without having seen film, but with the offensive line, did you get a better idea of how much was you guys and how much was their numbers game and what they were doing in the box?
Well, the numbers are always going to create issues when they're down that low, okay? But we still have to be able to block the 6 or the 7 people in the box, and we got to get in front of them. We got to move them out of there, and we're not doing that to where we need to be to play at a high level. And so, you know, essentially, from this point moving forward, we've got to do a better job of getting squared up on those guys in the box, and we got to block them and give our backs a chance to get out in space.
How did Taylor Cornelius feel watching film of himself after this game versus last game?
I haven't talked to him about him watching film of himself yet, but he's going to be his toughest critic. That's just the type of young man he is. And I'm sure you guys had a chance to interview him after the game, and whatever he says is pretty much what he feels. I would anticipate him getting a little better each week.
What did you see on those 2 interceptions?
Well, one of them, the kid just made a nice play. Sometimes that's going to happen in our offense. We throw the ball down the field. We like a one-on-one matchup. Their guy went up and made a good play, caught it with one hand. So that's the style of offense we play. The other one, he's made a bad throw. I mean, the guy was open. His decision was good, and I recommended not throwing in that corner of the end zone.
Mike, I mentioned to you after the game that he couldn't even talk about his good plays because he was so locked in on his mistakes. Isn't there a danger in that too, though? I mean, as a quarterback, he's
pretty level-headed, Robert. He's very mature, and he gets it. So, hey, how about that? Greg Burke's head of the officials. He likes my shirt. I mean, that's pretty good. So I don't see that as being an issue with him. He's going to be critical of himself. He's been here so long, and he wants to play as good a game as he can mentally. We run 80 plays a game. We play fast, lots on the quarterback. There's going to be mistakes. He has a high level of really quiet confidence, in my opinion. And I think we saw more of that in the last game, in that he didn't toss the ball, he threw the ball. And I think each week he'll get a little better.
How good was the play where he scrambled around, kept his eyes downfield, and found Stoner for about 20? I mean,
If he stays active with his legs, could present a problem for defenses. His ability to run and get 4, 5, 6 yards, avoid a sack, and then his arm is strong enough to throw the ball down the field. So we think that's an advantage for us. That will improve the more he plays. It's so much better after you've played 500 plays in live action than you are just going through practice.
Do you think, Mike, that that Boise is one of the 2 or 3 best teams you'll see all year, and B, do you think they might be the best non-conference team you brought in here since maybe Houston and Dana 9 years ago?
I'm trying to think of who all's come in here. Yeah, they were good with him because of he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He was a good player. This team is every bit as good as they were. We played Georgia here. Georgia's pretty good. They had Stafford, right? Another NFL starter. So that automatically makes you a good team. And I think this young man's going to play in the NFL. I mean, obviously, it's not my job to evaluate, but they're a good football team. They're just a really good team. Non-conference opponents in preseason, people try to guesstimate how good they are. You play on the road and you win by 40 or however many, and then you play at home and you win by 50 or however many. Your team's going to be pretty good. There's at sometimes a telltale sign, not always, but if you're just an average team, it's not easy to win by 50. So they're a really good football team.
Mike, I don't want to wear out the targeting issue, but is there going to be a targeting call on an offensive player with the ball?
They don't consider him, what's the word I'm looking for? Defenseless. Because he has the ability to drop his pads. So it's a tough rule, and I mentioned it afterwards. Talked to it about the staff. I was pretty tough with our team about it in the meetings last night, that I wouldn't want to play defense. I wouldn't want to play defense anyway because I'm not really big on human collisions. But I certainly wouldn't want to play now when you have to try to do everything possible to avoid any contact with your helmet when you're still trying to strike a person. And, I mean, it's hard to hit somebody with this and your head go the other way. That's just physiologically almost impossible. So you got to stay from here down. To me, that's the solution. You need to learn to tackle from here down. If you hit anything from here up, you're probably going to get ejected. I don't agree with it. I think the new rules are better. I think the safer we can make this game is a positive for college football, because this is not a safe game. So I'm all for the changes, but overall, we're going to have to come up with a way that if 2 guys are going at each other, like let's just say that Magruder went to hit from here down. Well, what if that guy went down that low? Whose fault is that?
Exactly.
So I don't know what you do. But it's a tough situation, but we certainly do need to make the game safer in every opportunity that we have. I just think there has to be replay officials that use common sense and say, okay, I'm going to put myself in his position, and I'm putting myself in his position. And did he violently strike a guy that was defenseless? Sure, he needs targeting, he needs ejected, in my opinion. If it's 2 guys playing the game of football, I don't know what to tell you. So that's just my opinion.
Which, on that subject, the defense, what are you going to work on this week to keep guys from Boise State bouncing off some of the tackles like South Alabama did in some places?
We didn't tackle very well in the first half. We did in the second half much better. And they have guys that can make you miss. The quarterback's skilled. The 2 guys on the perimeter are skilled. They play at times kind of like we do in their concepts. Looks different, but the nuts and bolts of it, there's a lot of similarities. So we have to tackle well. And it'll be that way every game from here on out. You see more missed tackles than ever because offenses are using 52 yards of the field. They're not playing in between the hash marks. So you see it at all levels. I watched last night late, I watched some NFL highlights. And he's a bad example, but just watch the guys trying to tackle Tyreek. And you look at yourself and say, that's an NFL player. There's guys at that level that are just hard to tackle. There's guys at this level that are hard to tackle. We like getting the ball to 5 and 27 and 30 on the perimeter and saying, good luck to you, one-on-one, we'll see you tackle him. There's concepts that we do now that are okay with the guy being out there trying to tackle that guy in space.
Can we talk about the receiving group and how Wallace and Johnson in particular have kind of stepped up, especially with Washington and Aitman and those guys leaving?
Yeah, they're doing a good job. They're working hard. They're unselfish. That's the most difficult thing for our offense, as I've said in here before. You've got one person that gets to touch the ball every play, and you have 10 guys that have to be unselfish and are willing to help him score. And we had that because 13 didn't have a lot of action a week ago, and then he did in this game. And 1 didn't get much action in this game based on what happened. 17 was somewhat limited. They played differently, so it went outside. 2 ends up getting a lot of action. It's going to be that way based on how teams play us. And I like where they're coming. I like how they're sharing time. I like how they're blocking downfield. So they're making some strides.
Boise's quarterback's got 38 starts. Your guys got 2.
Thanks for reminding me.
That's
on
the
that.
advantage you had last year over most opponents. That great advantage, that experience with the quarterback. So isn't what you've got to do to counter that is turn your run game up, you know, and support.
Andy came in early, and he's been there a long time, so he's got a lot of experience. I think he came in early. He was right across the border there in Washington somewhere, right? Okay. Yeah, I basically remember him coming in early, so he's been around a long time. I'm not sure how they're going to play us. My guess is that they're going to run the plays that they have and execute the way they do. I don't see them seeing us any different. They're probably just going to run their offense and run their defense. And so we have to be intelligent as play callers and from the quarterback position and how we distribute the ball based on the way they play us. But if they do give us the run at times like what you're saying, then we have to block. If the numbers are equal, we got to block those guys. So our backs can make a cut on the other side of the line of scrimmage and not in the backfield. And that'll be important.
Regardless of how you're being played, though, I mean, when you see that backs like King and Hill are 9 for 32, like they were 2 nights ago, didn't that?
I mean, how many yards did we throw for? 500?
Yeah, 4.
I mean, I just, it is what it is. I mean, the first game, the safeties and the corners played way off, and we rushed for 400 yards. And would it be different with a different opponent? Sure, but if they want to invert safeties and drop safeties down and run linebackers through the gaps like the last team, then we have to throw the ball. It's really hard if you have a center and a guard and you have a lineman lined up in a 2-eye technique or a gap, and we're doubling up to this backer, and that backer's running through the gap, and this nose guard, this center can't help at all. He's got to get off on that guy and leaves him solo. You're going to get pushed back. You're going to lose all leverages, and the law of football is you get pushed backwards. You got to throw passes because that linebacker also has to cover the middle of the field in passing. That's where 13 caught his balls. So it's just a give and take. I do say at times that you need to be able to run the ball when they know you're going to run the ball. That's where we need to improve. And that's kind of what you're alluding to. And there's definitely going to be a time during the year we have to do that. So we'll just see what happens and how they play us.
It'll be interesting. I haven't seen much of the UConn game, but I've watched the Troy game, and just watching them in the Troy game, it's one of the better college secondaries. And I know they're better, and they brought back 10 starters, but that's one of the better secondaries that I've seen in a while, maybe one of the best you'll see this year.
Well, they play well together, and they're all experienced. There's no substitute for experience at this level, period. They got everybody back, essentially on both sides of the ball. And they're veteran guys, and they've been savvy, and they've been successful. And it's going to be a real challenge now, I'm just telling you. I don't know what they're ranked right now. I'm going to say pretty high and very deserving of where they're at based on the history of that program and They stay in their box. I don't know that staff at all. You know, they're basically on the other side of the planet. So I don't know a lot of people in that part of the country. But Chris Peterson visited here a few years ago for a couple days, and then we played them in the bowl. And so I got to know him a little bit. And I'm guessing that these guys are probably cut from the same mold, which has been very successful over the last 15 years, maybe longer than that.
If it's a close game, something happens to Taylor, do you feel comfortable bringing in Drew or Spencer?
I don't know yet. We'll have to wait till we practice this week and see where they're at. They're getting a little better each week.
So why has Boise been able to sustain itself for this long?
Their success. Oh, I think they're a lot. I think the history. Brian has been there how many years? Right, and that was before that was Peterson, right? And before him was did Cutter jump in there at some time? Dirk jumped in there for a couple years, or maybe 1 year. And Nutt was there for a year, and then it was Hawkins, right? So if you go back to when he started, I don't know who was before him. I don't know. Do you know, Kevin? You were living out there.
I think Houston started.
Who?
The first in Houston, I think, was the first in line with that group. Wasn't it Houston?
No.
Cutter?
That was Houston after Dan Hawkins?
No.
Dan Hawkins started it.
Okay.
I think. I don't know. But regardless, there's a lot of similarities. And I don't know anything about those guys. I don't know them. All I know is when I watch them in the off season and I watch them play on TV, they stay in their box. And they, just to me, this is what they believe in. And they believe in this system. And there's times they run to the center. They run the power play. They run tight ends. They run wings. They spread you. They motion you. They multi-formation you. Defensively, they have some potential 3-down looks. They have stand-up ends. Their schemes and their structures, a lot like what we're doing now. They're match coverage people, maybe not as much challenge in press man. So, but that has stayed relatively same for a long time. And to me, that's why they've been able to be consistent and have success, because they don't wholesale change. And then whoever started it has developed, and I'm sure their players believe in their ability to win, and makes a huge difference.
What's Darius Williams' status going into this week?
Should be fine.
You have a lot of freshman offensive linemen listed on that depth chart. Earlier in the year, you said you wouldn't think you'd have to play any of those guys at all, so what kind of changed the picture there?
What do you mean?
There's 3 freshman linemen listed on that depth chart. Down there on third string, but what's kind of brought them into the picture?
I'm not understanding what you're asking me.
On the depth chart.
Right, but I'm not understanding what you're asking me about them.
Why are they now listed? What's kind of got them in the position where they could be on the field?
Were they not listed?
No.
I didn't know that. I mean, that's new to me. I was unaware. Gavin must think they're going to play. I don't know. He's one that makes the depth chart. Honestly, I didn't know they were on there. So nothing's changed up front for us. We're just not playing very good right now.
Other than a Bedlam type game, I don't know that there's ever been a statistical matchup quite like this since you've been the head guy, because you're number 1 in offense, they're number 4 in offense. Both quarterbacks are way high. You think this is, if it's possible, this is kind of under the radar nationally in terms of being a potentially?
I don't know what the temperature is out there with the game nationally. I know to us that that as we look at it based on each week, and I would have to let you know at the end of the year, but when you see the big picture, this could be as good as any team we play when you talk about experience, mature quarterback, like all the things that everybody in here knows are important to a team having success. When you have a mature quarterback, you got returning starters, a lot of experience, guys been successful, good returners on special teams, coaching staff's been in place forever, all those different things. That's kind of the ingredients for a successful organization. So you may play a team, if you're playing, I don't know, Alabama, well, you may play a team that on the NFL breakdowns, they may be more talented. But when you take everything together, this team may be as sound as anybody we play this year.
Doesn't your shirt kind of say it all? Outside of homecoming,
this place should be full. I can't imagine a 2:30 is a 2:30 kick. I can't imagine you have a 2:30 kick here and you're playing a team that's been as successful and is ranked as high as them. And we got them at home, and you get a chance to stripe the stadium. And again, go to our Twitter and CoachGundy.com, find out what color to wear. Place should be loud. Good call, Robert, for free marketing. I like
Do
that.
you return the gun?
I think we go 2 years, don't we? I don't know when we go out there. 3 years? Yeah, I think, we go out there in 3 years. By that time, they'll have another quarterback.
So, I mean, if you can put the rivalry aside and just look at the human aspect of it, and Rodney Anderson's a really good player. He gets hurt the other day. And this game is so violent, it's kind of surprising about 10 guys don't get hurt badly every week. But I mean, is that sobering when you see a really good player in the league go down like that?
Yeah, you never know when it's going to happen. It's one of the most difficult things to swallow as a coach. Young men that work hard, and life is not always what we expect it to be, and it's definitely a marathon and not a sprint, and you hate it. People ask us, like, my 13-year-old, when I got home, at 12:30 or whatever on Saturday night. Well, how come Justice Hill doesn't play more? What's the problem? I said, well, we got way ahead. Yeah, but you only let him in the game, play 6, I don't know, what do you have, 6 carries or something? Yeah, and he said he only gets to play X number of plays. And I said, I just don't feel comfortable leaving him in the game when we're way ahead. And so that doesn't mean you can prevent anything from happening, but that's why we always lean in that direction, just because certain guys are really valuable. And then other players we leave in if we think they need valuable experience in reps. And then if it's a tweener in which way to go, we go to putting them on the bench. We'll catch the reps later. We just don't have the depth that maybe some schools have. If you lose a couple key guys, then things get to where it's not quite as fun.
In your review, were you as impressed as Jim Knowles when Edison Magruder went out? You had to put Peel in there more. Bernard, I know he got beat on the one play, but Jim seemed to think he was pretty happy with the way the young guys responded.
They're further along than what I thought. When I see them out there, I get nervous because anytime you see a kid that was playing high school ball 6 months ago or 9 months ago or whatever, it makes me a little nervous. But actually, they were in the right place and kind of started to figure it out. They're a lot of reps away, but they'll be in the game some. And we talked about this in July and in August, that at that particular position, we'll be developing some young players. That's the one position that we'll be developing guys that don't have a lot of experience. And so here we are.
1 week to the next two, it looked like Malcolm learned a lot of lessons the first week that he applied the second.
He'll eventually get to be where he's a really salty, squared away guy at that position. If you notice, if you can brag on somebody for tackling, it's him, right? He's got years and years and years of experience in wrestling, and so he understands tackling. He's good on the thighs, and he's good at dumping and lifting legs, and that's what he did. That's why he won so many state championships in wrestling, and it's converting over to his tackling on defense.
Besides
That sure was a good move by the head coach, taking him and recruiting, wasn't it?
It was a good
Thank you. I think he was a 2-star.
I'm not sure
He didn't even have a star.
He may not have had
That's
any.
right. He has an awesome family. That's his star.
You know, we all know Boise's really good and has been good, but I mean, do your guys know that?
Oh yeah. Social media, they know everything. They know more than we do. They know it all. I don't think there's any question. They know exactly who Boise is.
You feel OSU fans have like a special place for Boise because of the Oklahoma Fiesta Bowl game?
Well, I hadn't thought of that. I don't know. That'd be hard for me to answer. People don't like me saying this, but we should all want our teams in this league to win. It only makes us look better, but I don't know that fits every fan in the state of Oklahoma. But I couldn't answer that. I don't know. I'd actually forgot about that till you told me. That's been a long time. So it'd be hard for me to answer that.
You mentioned rooting for the league. How big of a game is this for the Big 12?
They're all big out of conference. You know, it's same thing that when they started this new playoff system that we get asked that question a lot of coaches, and in my opinion, every time we step out of league, it's big for our league. I don't know that it's any bigger than what it should be just for your team, but it helps when you play out of conference if you compete and you play at the highest level.
justice and your son's frustration with his carry level. But this is the kind of week you've got to try to get the ball in his hands quite a bit, don't you?
Based on every game, you know, his reps could be increased. So what we talked about is 15 carries over an extended period of time. And if you add all that up through the regular season, if you take 15 times 12 and you get a number there, then that's what we would be comfortable with, okay, after the regular season. So whatever carries he has up to now, he's probably under the 15, so maybe he gets 22 in this game. But that's the average that I would like to keep for him as the season goes on, depending on how the game goes and offense plays and his health and JD and Chuba and all that factor in a little bit. But what you're saying is right. He could very well touch the ball 22, 24 times in this game.
I know you've had a lot of good pass rushers over at times, so I'm not actually going to compare. But what does Jordan Belfort do that maybe makes him unique?
He's very experienced, so he's done it enough. He understands leverage and sinking his hips, dipping his shoulder. He understands bull rush. He's done it a lot. He's matured. He's older now. He's probably 22, maybe 23 years old. Makes a big difference, and he's just got a lot of experience. He's one of those guys that has a unusual body type to where they have enough strength to push, but then enough speed to get around the corner. You know, that's why they pay those guys so much money. I didn't see it, but 52 for the Bears last night, I guess, proved why that they pay him as much money as they do. I only saw the second half midway through the third quarter, because Gunner came running in there jumping because he thinks Aaron Rodgers hung the moon, and he was doing good. So I had to watch the rest of that with Gunner. And I saw the highlights of 52. The same concept, not saying he's 52. I'm just saying that unusual ability to have of speed and strength gives him a chance to be a decent pass rusher.
With the way that Knowles likes to get after the quarterback, is this kind of an ideal setup for a guy like Jordan?
Yeah, for him and really all those guys, you know, gives them a chance to. They all like to rush the quarterback. I mean, that's what they like to do. I mean, playing the run's not near as gratifying to them as getting a chance to chase the quarterback around.
Considering that Cornelius now is statistically the most accomplished quarterback through 2 games there's ever been at OSU, do you find it interesting that so many people seem to have him on a quick hook? You know what I mean?
If you remember, in the summer, I said everybody's going to have to be patient with him, including myself, including Mike. We just had so much success at one, offensively, and 2, at that position. But you can go back and look at Mason's first year when he played here as a sophomore. He had games that people weren't fired up about. The downfall for Corndog is he doesn't have next year. So he has to learn and grow really fast. But he'll be fine. He's playing fine. Sometimes we have to be careful what we wish for. We just need to be thankful for what we have, and that's kind of the way I feel about Corndog. Sound good? All right, appreciate it. Stripe the stadium, man. Stripe the stadium. Women, stripe the stadium.